Are the Rockets going about this the correct way?
Hell no. What? No, I don't believe that, not for 1 second. Let me be very, very clear. Jay, you wasn't here yesterday. Let me make sure I reiterate my position to you. I love Jimmy Butler as a player. We know how I feel about Harden. He was my MVP. And I believe that CP3, when healthy, is an elite point guard, even to this day, in terms of floor generalship and what he can do in terms of running a team. The three of them together with D'Antoni, hell no. I'm literally going to go out on a limb and say this. I think that anybody that thinks this is a great idea, I got serious questions about their basketball acumen because they're not paying attention to the personalities. We're not talking about just game. We're talking about personality. CP3 departed, and he and I had this discussion on several occasions. He departed from the Clippers because he wanted to be off the ball, okay, somewhat. Because every single possession, like it went to James Harden last year, every single possession, CP3 had the ball in his hands. And it was work overload. He needed a reprieve. Take a break. Let somebody else run the offense. Let me get off the ball a little bit. He didn't expect this. What he saw in terms of D'Antoni throwing every possession through James Harden, you certainly didn't anticipate and expect D'Antoni to have an incapability or an unwillingness to really, really coach, get in somebody's face, make sure modifications are made. This is what we need to do, and here's how we need to do it. That's one of the problems Fertitta has it with them, which is why if Daryl Morey ain't careful, and I'm going to say this on national television so everybody know where I'm coming from, Daryl Morey better be careful. Daryl Morey is an elite executive. I love me some Daryl Morey. But Fertitta inherited him just like he inherited the team from Alexander and he inherited CP3's contract. Don't play with that man. That man's gangster. I'm telling you right now, he don't play. And so when you're Daryl Morey, you can sit up there and try to side with D'Antoni all you want to. You better be careful. I'm telling you right now. That's number two. Number three, then you add Jimmy Butler's personality. Now, I've known Jimmy Butler for years. You talk about a brother that's no nonsense, that's real and raw and authentic and unapologetic about it. Somebody that will get in your face. He will tell the coach, the assistant coach, the trainer, his teammates. He don't match when I tell you, this brother don't give a damn what anybody says. I ain't playing. That's Jimmy Butler. He went into Philadelphia. Brett Brown got him standing in the corner, running the offense. Jimmy Butler, yo, man, do you know what you doing? I mean, I ain't come here for this. You must be out your damn mind. Brett Brown said, wait a minute now. We're going to modify things. We're going to make sure as the season progresses and we ingratiate you into the scheme of things, you'll be handling the ball in the fourth quarter, and it'll be your show as the point guard. I'm saying all those things going on. You can't have that with Mike D'Antoni as your coach. It does not work.
So Jimmy Butler doesn't take stuff, right? Like he's
zero.
Okay. And he went to a team that was already either Ben Simmons or Embiid's or both. And they had him standing in the corner.
Only for 2 weeks.
And in the end, they wound up losing to the best player on earth who won the championship that year, hitting one of the biggest shots of all time in Game 7. That's how they lost. In other words, it worked. They brought Jimmy Butler in, and they got better immediately, the Sixers. And they got better when it mattered most. And they got better on the biggest stage. And they did it because Jimmy Butler was playing defense on Kawhi. Look, Kawhi's going to get you, but as good as you can do it. And he was getting his on the other end in crunch time. And he brought some of that attitude to the Sixers. And he stood up to the coach. In fact, if everything you're saying is true about Fertitta and his disposition toward Morey and D'Antoni and whatever D'Antoni
does. Not so much
does,
Morey, really D'Antoni.
Okay, but you got to be.
But Morey can't
and whatever D'Antoni does wrong in terms of using Harden, in fact, what you're asking for on that team is Jimmy Butler. You're asking for a guy to come in and stand up to say, no. Now, why is Daryl Morey targeting Jimmy Butler, and why do I think it's actually a very good idea? Is Houston going to get, and can KD or Clay even play this year? No. Are they going to get Kawhi? No, they're not in the running. Are they going to get Kyrie? Who are they going to get, right? Actually, the best available player that does some of the stuff they need is Jimmy Butler. So Morey is wisely targeting him with laser beam focus. And there's a good chance he gets him and improves the Houston Rockets.
Your analogy, as much as it sounds right in your head, the personnel for Philadelphia is drastically different than the personnel for the Houston Rockets, man. You have Joel Embiid who's in the paint. You have Ben Simmons who can only drive, which leaves a lot of room on the perimeter for Jimmy Butler to isolate, right? To do his thing, to knock down shots. My only thing is, on top of what Stephen A. Smith said about as far as the chemistry, which is within itself, that's where analytics and the eye test just don't meet.
That's
right. They're on completely different waves.
Right.
Because that will be an implosion waiting to happen, right? So you talk about, just think about, I mean, how they are. CP3 is a guy who'll get in your face. And then James Harden is another guy who will be passive aggressive. You can't have two primary players on the same, I don't think they'll ever get on the same page. And then also think about this, man. Like, when it comes down to it, realistically, with the way this guy plays on that team, like, that is a combustible situation. It is going to blow up in your face. And if I'm Jimmy Butler, I'm not trying to go to that scenario. And on top of that, they have a bench in Philadelphia to a certain degree. So you're going to trade away your bench aspect. Houston is already dead last in bench points, bench minutes, bench steals, rebounds, and assists. So now you're going to take away P.J. Tucker or Clint
and Eric Gordon.
And Eric Gordon. Or
who was balling in the postseason.
So now what else do you have?
Oh, by the way, let me throw this out there because, Max, I didn't say this to you. I didn't bring this up. This is my fault. I didn't bring this up over the last couple of days. It is entirely plausible that Jimmy Butler is using the Houston Rockets
leverage
to ensure that he gets
5 years. 5 years.
1,000%.
Because in the Sixers' perfect world, they would rather give him the 4 years rather than the 5 based on the things that you pointed to. But in the end, if you notice, unlike most teams, and I love me some James Harden, but when he's doing his thing, there's no body movement around him. They're standing around waiting.
Yeah, but that
would drive
Jimmy Butler
plus
crazy. CP3 may fix that. They may actually address that.
You think that's going to fix that? You think it's going to fix it when James Harden just stands on the perimeter?
No. In other words, James Harden won't be able to just do that. And then when he's off ball, just go hide.
I tell you, Jimmy Butler is going to alienate James Harden more.
There's a good chance.
He's going to be passive. I'm telling you, he's going to turn into a different person.
There's a good chance you're right. There is
huge risk.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.